hold of the head of marketing at Apple Computers and saying, listen, we have this network of colleges that we can, implement at a moment's notice. And really what he did is he said, listen, we can plug and play Apple in there. And Apple was very big into trying to get into the student. They had reseller networks throughout all the colleges. And so we would do all of the Apple ads and do the promotions around Apple. And so that was the start of that company, which at the time really was just 2 clients.
That's crazy. So it was more so the young demographic that they were going for.
Yeah, 18 to 34.
For all the brands that they did business or did advertising.
Primarily at that time.
Okay.
And the growth of an agency has to take a look at where it is they want to go, and that was one of the things that Gary was very great at seeing. 5 years down the line, he was talking about podcasts 10 years ago when nobody was listening to him. Yeah.
Oh wow, very interesting. So you worked there from 1988 to 2017. How did things change from the start to finish in the advertising space?
Well, in 1998, we were officially acquired by a big conglomerate by the name of Omnicom. Omnicom owned, I think, 260 or more agencies at the time. And they owned the big advertising agencies like BBDO, TBWA, Chiat Day, DDB, and then they bought some smaller ones. But they also owned most of the major PR agencies as well, Ketchum, Fleischman Hillard, and then started realizing that big growth was coming in the healthcare space. So they started buying medical specialty companies, and then Gary sold them the company, and it was the first experiential company that Omnicom had ever owned. So they gave him license to say, if you want to grow, exponentially, you can, and he did. He started to do some acquisitions of other agencies that had specialties in sports. We had been doing sports. We just hadn't been, we weren't like
pounding it like somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, there were some companies out there that's all they did was sports.
Yeah,
we were doing primarily music promotions and dabbling in sports. One of the first large clients that we had in sports was Miller when they had the Association of Volleyball Professionals, AVPs, beach volleyball. So that was a big, worked on that promotion as well.
Okay. And how do you get, as an agency, how do you get people like onboarded? Like, I know you said that they just talked to Apple. Is there a big process like emailing the head of marketing there to try to get their budget to you?
Yeah, and there's requests for proposals that would come out, and you'd try to get on that list to have them send you the RFPs and those or requests for information to basically provide your credentials. And it was a very interesting process during my career, because it used to be if you could get on somebody's RFP list, you probably were guaranteed to get some sort of business somewhere down the line.
Okay.
After a while, a lot of the marketing people within the corporate entities would use that to try to solicit free creative ideas. And that was another thing that I think Gary did a great job at, was he realized that we aren't going to give away free ideas. I mean, we're going to be a company that, we'll present the idea, and if you buy it from us, we'll implement it. And so that was one of the ways. We had several salespeople, very good salespeople, that would go out and solicit business. One of the things that we constantly did was looked at the trades and found out like maybe who wasn't happy with their agency at the time. And there was a couple of times where we were proactive. We had an idea and took it directly to the company and said, this was a great company, or this is a great idea. One of those was one of our salespeople from New York, and he realized that Tonka was going to have their 50th anniversary, or I think it was maybe their 100th anniversary. And so he said, I'll get a meeting with Tonka and let's come up with what the idea is. So we developed this national tour that was going to showcase all the Tonka through the years, and went in and presented it. They bought it and took it around for a year. And it was, a one-off client for a while, but it was one of those things where we were proactive in looking for the opportunity. Okay.
So the process of getting one of those big jobs, you kind of propose what you're going to do for them and kind of the result that they'd possibly get. Is that how it works?
Yeah. I mean, and now because of, digital marketing and all the data and AI that's out there, you almost have to guarantee some type of return on investment to be able to make it worth their while. There was, a Wild West time where people would just say, come in with a great idea and we'll give it a try. Those days are somewhat over, because you can figure out that if your spend isn't going to generate the return that you need, that you're probably going to find an alternative agency to work with.
Gotcha. I want to touch on a little bit of I feel like a fad or something super popular is like kids my age starting SMMA businesses, social media marketing agencies, and I've seen it everywhere that people are saying that it's like the easiest business to scale. How would you say that somebody could scale one of those businesses to onboard their first client and eventually grow it into multiple?
Well, I think, and it is, such a interesting area of business because your generation lives and breathes it. I mean, it's basically you grew up with it. It's easy to plug and play. And I tell all of my students when they tell me that they're doing a little thing here, a little thing there, I said there's plenty of companies out there that could use your expertise. I think it's getting one client and proving that with that client that you've gotten success for them. I've seen several people who have started small businesses and marketed it themselves. There's a need for people to go into businesses that have been established for years that might not have a website and say, listen, I can help you change how you do business. I worked for another entrepreneur down in Kenosha, and he had a magazine. And after I left GMR, he said, hey, I want to go out and pick your brain about some stuff. And he said, what could I be doing different? I said, honestly, you don't have a digital presence. You're a piece of paper that is dwindling. Nobody's picking it up anymore. How can you be more relevant in the marketplace? And so he did. He hired a young, upcoming social media marketing person who started actually doing podcasts and started talking about things happening in Kenosha. So now he's got not only the magazine, he has a radio show, and then he's got his social media platform that is all kind of working together as an integrated marketing campaign.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. So yeah, so I see how you could onboard the first customer, and then do you want to like get them to say a review to get the second customer? Is that how you kind of expand it?
Well, yeah. I mean, you definitely want to make sure that you did a good job and that they have good things to say about you. But I think, I know a lot of people that I used to work with that were social media experts at GMR, and they've all gone off, and I shouldn't say all, most of them gone off and started their own small little niche business. A lot of reasons was during COVID, some of the jobs started going away, and they might have taken a client and kind of opened up the door and said, let me just kind of freelance with you for a while.
Yeah.
Take that and then parlay that into other people. And to be honest with you, word of mouth still is one of the best forms of advertising.
Yeah.
If somebody says, Hunter's, podcast is the best, people are going to go, I'm going to tune in, take a listen. So
right.